What has stood out about Trey in his first two starts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's very easy to see his talent and skill set, but I think the energy that he provides, and he's very confident in his abilities, and that's evident too when you watch the way he plays. But he plays with a lot of howl and with a lot of confidence, and it's really fun to be in the same backfield with him. But he's really talented. I mean, two starts and he has a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. I think the sky is obviously the limit, and just what he provides on a day-to-day basis with his energy level and just how much he loves playing the game of football is fun to be a part of.
Maybe discuss the trust factor you have with Ottenbell, particularly on the kind of deep shot, the 50-50 balls that, I mean, there's a connection there, but there has to be some trust with the quarterback. He's going to make a play for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. I think with Chris, it's not really a 50-50 ball mindset. That's not his mentality, and that's not my mentality when throwing it to him, or in reality, any of our other receivers too. But he's so talented with the ball in the air of finding a way to come down with it, no matter really where the ball's at. And that's something he's really talented at. It's something we've been doing for 5 years now together. So it was awesome to get him back on the field on Saturday, and to see him make a couple big plays was obviously really huge.
What was his presence do for the other wide receivers, just the entire offense in terms
Yeah,
of
I think it starts with his leadership. It starts with his leadership abilities, the energy, the emotion that he brings. It's not over the top and emotional, but he's very. He brings a very firm level of emotion to our receiving group, to our team, to our offense, because he's excited to play the game of football. I mean, his first catch of the season, he went right over and ran the safety over. And it's just what he loves to do. Like, he loves playing the game of football. He loves playing it violently at the wide receiver position. That's a word we use. When we talk about Coby and the way that he plays tight end, Chris Bell plays the wide receiver position violently. That's the way I see it. And his leadership is obviously on full display, just with everything with that receiving group, and having him back was huge.
Tanner, what do you remember from your first time you met Chris back in the recruiting days, and what impression he left on you?
We were going to Western Michigan University, and one, I was like, oh, this guy's a really good football player. But two, it was just, I think, kind of like an instant connection, just in friendship-wise, but also just like, we're different, but we're very similar at the same time. So we connected right away when we were 16, 17 years old, and our journey's taken us here, and I'm thankful to be a part of his story, and to be able to be a teammate with him here at the University of Minnesota is something that when I was 16, I probably thought never would happen. So I'm, again, thankful for this opportunity, thankful that Coach Fleck even brought us here, that God saw it fit to have us both be here at the University of Minnesota is a blessing in itself.
Tanner, you mentioned Chris Ottenbell as a leader in the wide receiver room. What specifically does he, as a leader, tell or try and make other wide receivers better at in practice?
Yeah, I think first it's the way we practice is obviously very unique and true to us. But we have for us, the standard is the standard all the time, whether that's on Saturday or Tuesday morning practice. And Chris does an elite job of practicing up to the standard and holding guys to the standard as well. Because if, without our how, that's what gives us our edge, our how we do everything, how we do any little thing. And so that's definitely something that Chris does an elite job of at practice with the receivers is, and they all communicate and talk to each other of, we have to do things at a very high and a very elite level. And doing those on Tuesday and Wednesday makes it a lot easier to do it on Saturdays.
Tanner, when you go to the line now and you look at the defense, do you recognize things now that maybe you wouldn't have 3 years ago?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's also a big part of that is being able to handle more. From maybe 2-3 years ago where there's kind of like a plate analogy. You don't want to give the quarterback too much on his plate. And I think, when I was maybe a redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore, there were certain things that probably would have been too much. But that is a huge credit to the way that we train in the offseason with Coach Sanford of recognizing certain things on defenses overall defensive structures, and then being able to identify things. And it gives you the ability to get in the season and be able to handle more and see more of the holistic picture instead of just maybe one or two things or three things here and there, or just what the play calls for, but really being able to be on the same page and understanding why certain plays worked, why plays didn't work, why we called this, why we didn't call this, because it's really just a chess match between the offense coordinator and the defense coordinator, being one step ahead, and quarterbacks and linebackers are a part of that as well. Being able to live inside of the coordinator's mind, and so I think, again, it goes back to the training you do in the off season and in the week to prepare for that opponent. But yeah, it's something that I definitely have been able to handle more than I think I have in the past. But I got to do a way better job too of little things and being able to put us in right positions when teams try to do different things, or just putting our offense line in better positions and protection plans and things like that. So I still have a long way to go. That's the exciting part.
Yeah, when you first started, how often did the defense fool you?
I mean, I'd like to say not a lot, but maybe here and there. And there's always going to be times where, the pre-snap might be different than the post-snap, and you just have to react and go play the game of football because that's what it's all about. But I would say more than now, but I don't know. I wouldn't like to say an incredible amount, but it really all goes back to your training and being able to identify what the defense is attempting to do against you and how you're going to attack it.
What was your reaction when you saw Cody's face on Saturday?
You're talking about the tweeted picture? The picture was actually from, more detail of the story. That was actually after a training camp practice. So it's a picture I think all the guys kind of have and float around to each other, which is even better. But I'm pretty sure he had a bloody nose after the game too. So it's awesome. It's who he is. He had an elite game. So many pancakes, so many knockdowns, a catch, a really hard that catch is way more difficult than it looks too. Like that when you see it on film, it's like, oh, it's just a 5-yard catch. That's a first down on 2nd and 4. That's a way harder catch and a way bigger play than you might think. So, Co's an elite tight end, and again, he brings a lot of violence to the game of football and leadership as well.
What's the inside joke then with that photo from training camp?
It's just kind of a mindset or a mentality, kind of a joke of, this is the reality of who Co is, the way that he plays the game of football, and every time you see it, it just kind of makes you laugh, and it's who Co is. But even in the practice when his nose was bleeding, he was just still doing his thing, or in the game when he gets a bloody nose or whatever it is, it's no excuses. He's always going and playing with extreme how at 100% full tilt. So, it's pretty elite picture, I think so.
Tanner, I saw you got some new T-shirts. How does that feel having yourself and some T-shirts? You can make some money off of that.
Yeah, I think it's a cool opportunity. It's not really something that we focus on or focus about really too much, but it's cool with new NIL policies and things that you can do, and hopefully people like them, and hopefully in the future we can continue to do more stuff to help out the benefit of the team and really just help other people out in general, not a single person or whatnot. So that's kind of where I stand on it, and I'd love to do something with the glioblastoma foundation, because kind of my story and my father, so I've kind of been looking into that a little bit. But it's cool. It's cool to have the shirts out, and it's cool to be able to do these things with a new NIL policy.
What's the weirdest or most unique NIL deal a player has on the team?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. We're focused on being our best every single day, and being at our best on Saturday against Bowling Green State, and being at our best tomorrow at practice. So that's really what we talk about most of the time. But
it looked like there were a few times where you're kind of doting on the running backs a little bit with some maybe ball is the program kind of lessons on Saturday. Our standard is our standard, and those guys definitely know that. So the ball is the program, and we'll never sacrifice that. So, there were, maybe one or two instances with that, but those guys, they protect the ball, and I know that stuff like that won't happen again, because
It's part of our program. It's part of who we are, protecting the ball, 78%. So those things really matter, and they're really important to us. And so that's why, we highlight it and emphasize it. And so I know guys will, learn from mistakes that we've made as a team and mistakes other people have made to educate ourselves to not be able to put the ball in harm's way and put it at risk.
There's a couple times where you're trying to push the pile on the first down.
I mean, I don't really add much, but what I can add, I'll do my best. No, it's fun though. It feels wrong to just stand there and watch everybody else work. So if I get in there, and I'll do it, but I gotta start adding more. Maybe hit some more squats or something, so I can add a couple of yards to the push the pile, so we can get some more yards on the ground. But it's fun. It's part about just playing football, honestly. It's just reminds me of playing football like a kid.
The offense is focused on ball control and running so far. Do you expect the passing game to have to play a bigger role somewhere this season?
I think for us in the pass game, we just have to execute and execute better. And again, that starts with me, being able to give guys chances to make plays. Our protection's been elite. Guys have been getting open. We've had flashes here and there, and we have a lot of guys that can make plays. And I just got to do a better job of executing and give those guys more opportunities to make plays. But our identity is being a very physical football team, whether that's through the air or on the ground. And so, when we get our opportunities, I have to continue to do a better job of, giving those guys more opportunities to make plays.
When you look at Bowling Green on film, what stands out to you when you look at them?
Yeah, I think they have a lot of really talented and special players on their defense, and they love to play the game of football. They really do, and we know that for us, it's always us versus us. We focus on ourselves, not really the opponent. But Bowling Green State is a very elite team. They had a big win last week, and so we have to be at our best on Saturday to be able to give ourselves the best chance to be successful.
Have any more for Tanner?
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tanner.
Thanks, Tanner.